In 2010, I worked on a C# project, and one day we had a discussion about tuples. Back then, a C# tuple was typed but anonymous. Its values would be T1, T2, T3, and so on. Now, instead of using a tuple, I created a data class as return value, and a colleague said to me that I suffered from the not invented here syndrome. Now, instead of discussing the extra code for the data class versus the built-in tuple, such accusations attack your character. They imply you dismiss external ideas. Now, perhaps you have experienced this yourself. I've been in many of such discussions. My favorite is about frameworks. There are developers who will jumpstart any project with their favorite frameworks and libraries, even if they are complete overkill. Now, an example is a dependency injection framework. There is a famous discussion on Stack Overflow, and I'll put a link in the description. It discusses the usage of such frameworks. Read it and enjoy the flame wars without any considerations for context. One of my favorites is, our dependencies are so complex that we cannot manage them manually. Well, if that is the case, you might want to inspect your software design. Or switch careers, whatever you prefer. In the thread, the terms dependency injection, DI containers, and inversion of control are freely mixed, thinking one cannot exist without the other. It's good to know a bit about the background on all these topics because that allows you to recognize the moment where you can safely discard every word that comes after it. Another example. Back then, there was a famous external JSON library. It was so popular that some developers did not even know that C# had a JSON serializer on board. And as long as you're not doing crazy things, this will work perfectly. But without the urge to keep things lean and mean, the default solution often was to import an external library. So it is not wise to use frameworks and libraries just because they exist. Remember that they too are created by people. You do not only get the benefits, you also bring in its learning curve, quirks, and bugs. Now, if you're surrounded by idiots, what makes you think that the library is created by geniuses? In an AI-dominated world, this problem is amplified. Any developer that thought he could make the next killer app with entering prompts in ChatGPT pretty soon has to deal with some franking code that, after a few iterations, is out of pace with what AI generated. Now, without a plan, this leads to prototype code at best. AI, just like code completion tools, code refactor tools, and copy pasting code from Stack Overflow, should be considered with extra care. Again, there seems to be a special trust in AI generated code. But remember, AI also learned from that terrible GitHub project you uploaded 10 years ago. So do what you always did, use all the tools you can get your hands on to help you. And then sit down and take time to think things through. Stay in control of the design, the style, and if you added generated code in a hurry, refactor to keep your code lean and mean, and then feed it back to the AI. Everyone is saying that the modern coder should use AI, and I agree. I love to use AI to ask questions about error messages, configuration crap, and even discuss my thoughts. It is truly a remarkable tool, but pick the right doses. As the great Frank Zappa once said, there is a big difference between kneeling down and bending over. Stay in charge of the design. If you need Copilot to answer questions about your code, you don't understand your code anymore. It might be time for that good old printed UML diagram on the wall. My final thoughts. Remember what you loved the most when you started programming. Solving code puzzles by thinking and typing code. Don't let tools take that away from you.